Hi guys, my name's Amanda, and for today's Keeper Chat, I have Archimedes, the Eastern Screech owl, with me. Now, you may not normally see Archimedes out here on zoo grounds. He is one of our animal ambassadors that lives behind the scenes, but if you ever do a school program or a birthday party here, that's when you might get to see him. Now, all of our native bird of prey species that we have here at the Frank Buck Zoo, we actually need to have a permit for, meaning we can't just go out and collect birds from the wild. And that is because we want to make sure we're not taking any healthy individuals away from the wild populations. We want to make sure they stay out in the wild. That way they can continue to do all the things that they need to do to keep the ecosystem healthy. Now, Archimedes here, just like all of our other bird of prey species here, cannot be released back into the wild. They all have some sort of issue that would prevent them from being able to survive. Some of it may be physical, so you may see our vultures or great horned owl that are out on exhibit. They actually have some wing injuries. Archimedes here, his issue is a little less physical and a little bit more psychological. Sometimes what happens is some good Samaritans, they'll go out into, they'll go to the park or their backyard and they find an animal that's either been injured or they think is orphaned. And sometimes that is the case, and sometimes the case is mom fled the scene because she saw a potential predator coming up and she wanted to make sure that she wasn't part of, what the predator was going to eat. And she'll temporarily flee the scene, and then as soon as the predator or threat leaves, she'll come back and take care of her babies. So with Archimedes, once the wildlife rehabilitator figured out that she couldn't release him back out into the wild, that he wouldn't be able to survive out in the wild, he was able to find a home here at Frank Buck Zoo, and he's actually a part of our animal ambassador team because he has such a calm personality and behavior and loves coming out and meeting people. Now, if you do ever find wildlife either in your own backyard or maybe while you're outside, you typically want to leave it alone if you can, unless it's obviously injured. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to call your local wildlife rehabilitator, and she can actually kind of act almost as like a 911 operator and give you instructions for what to do about whether or not if the animal's injured, or maybe you think you find an orphan baby like Archimedes once was, and proceed from there. Typically, if we find wildlife, we want to leave wildlife alone and just observe from a distance, because we have the ability as humans to greatly affect wildlife and their actions. And that's part of the reason why we have so many issues these days with wildlife not being able to breed or not being able to find food or successfully survive, is because we love wildlife so much and we just tend to interact a little bit too much with them. So the less interacting we can do with the wildlife other than just observing from afar, the more Archimedes and his wildlife counterparts can be happy and healthy in the wild. Thanks for watching.